Former CNN host Chris Cuomo has joined Valuetainment as a talent partner for Patrick Bet-David's podcast. This is huge because what we're seeing are liberal journalists moving away from the mainstream media and willing to have measured conversations with people on the opposite side of the spectrum. Now, was hiring him the right decision? Well, that remains to be seen. This might be a way to bridge the divide between the left and the right. And maybe Chris Cuomo will actually wake up and realize maybe he was wrong about a lot of things. Really? For those who don't know about Patrick Bet-David, he is a very successful independent podcaster. His YouTube channel has over 5 million subscribers. He's also an entrepreneur, and his show focuses on being a self-starter in business, but he also discusses a lot of politics. He is a registered independent, and his views tend to be more conservative-leaning, I would say. But what I respect about him is that he's always willing to have a conversation with someone on the other side. For example, this interview that he did with Bill Maher. And you can actually see that the way Patrick Bet-David was able to handle himself, he actually got Bill Maher to crack when it came to this part about Gavin Newsom.
How do you feel about Newsom?
One reason I want him to run for president, well, is because he's obviously a winner.
Define a winner.
He's a smart, real guy with a pair of balls.
What areas has Newsom won in? You said he's a winner.
Winner of the election.
But based on what, though? Do you want results? Like, what has he done to California to say he's a winner?
Oh, God. I don't know. It's too... I've been doing political commentary on television for 30 years. I think I can tell.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
This is a way to break out of the echo chamber because there's very little room for discourse when you're just talking with the people that you agree with. Since Patrick Bet-David has mostly a conservative audience, many people are outraged that he made this decision to hire Cuomo. There's very little trust in him, and understandably so, because Cuomo hasn't exactly led the most honest career as a journalist. If you were working for CNN, you're spreading fake news. That's just your day-to-day, run-of-the-mill job, to lie to the American people. Not only that, but he would lie about the dumbest things, like during COVID when he was in lockdown and he quarantined in his basement, and then on CNN, he comes out of the basement for the first time like he just came out of quarantine, even though it's not true at all that that was the first time he came out. And time again, just like most of the left-wing media, he was always playing into the narrative, like here in 2020 when he was supporting the violence in the George Floyd riots.
Too many see the protests as the problem. No, the problem is what forced your fellow citizens to take to the streets. Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful, because I can show you that outraged citizens are the ones who have made America what she is and led to any major milestones.
And let's not forget, his brother also let elderly people die in the nursing homes during COVID. But despite all of that, I think Cuomo's effort to at least talk with conservatives is a step in the right direction. And as a result, you see him recognizing where he went wrong. Just as an example, he recently went on Tucker Carlson's show. Never thought I would see the day. And in this particular discussion, after Cuomo claims that he doesn't make any distinction between genders, Tucker asked him a series of questions and eventually got him to concede.
I don't make a gender distinction.
Really?
I know too many women who can kick my ass. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think you know That's not true.
I do.
But there's not one woman in America who can kick your ass. It's just not true. And you know it's not true. You know in your heart you don't actually think there's a single woman.
No, I really do.
What's her name?
I really do. I know. The whole point is that I don't have to know them by person.
Men and women are very different. If you got into an argument, and I know you well enough to know, if you're standing in a restaurant and someone's like, "F you, Chris Cuomo," you'd punch him out. If a woman got way up in your face, you would know. Exactly.
I wouldn't.
So it is a bigger sin, not just against her, but against yourself and your dignity and your responsibility as a man. Your job is to protect women.
I'll give you the gender.
Period.
I don't see it exactly the same way.
Because you don't want to admit it. You're telling me some girl's going to kick your ass. And you know that's not true.
Hold on.
Got him!
Valuetainment hired him just shortly after he did this live show at a convention with Patrick Bet-David and Candace Owens. This was interesting because Candace Owens and Chris Cuomo are on the opposite ends of the spectrum, while Patrick Bet-David happens to be a very good mediator in these situations.
It's very obvious that Putin can complete a sentence and that Biden can't.
And you do know that he wasn't shot up with something.
No, I actually don't. I actually do believe he was shot up with adrenaline before he goes. What do you mean, come on? JFK used to do that.
Come on.
So it's like,
listen,
they obviously are giving him drugs before he speaks.
The truth is enough. And I'll tell you why it becomes problematic, okay? Now they'll start showing clips of Trump where it seems that he's not speaking fluidly. And they'll talk about whether he's on drugs. And
they did that already.
They will, but that's what you enable with this. I'm saying just stick with the truth.
I thought Cuomo made a good point there because it's about what you lead with. You can believe that Biden was shot up with drugs. I actually have to agree with Candace there. I think it's most likely true. But it's about who you're talking to. And not to go based on beliefs, but facts. Stick with the truth.
The problem is when you get into these situations of comparing a guy who's just a bad guy with what you want in your own leadership, I don't think it sends you to the right place.
The truth is that Vladimir Putin was able to communicate in a way that was coherent.
Would you want Vladimir Putin to be your president?
This is such a fine statement.
Would you want Vladimir Putin to be your president?
That's not what I said.
I'm asking you a question.
That's not what I said.
I'm asking you a question.
No, but you're asking the question because you still cannot deal with the fact that I have accurately described Vladimir Putin as coherent. He is.
I take it as I want to know everybody's leader on how they are, how formidable they are, and can mine go up against that leader. If Putin and Biden are in a negotiation table, we're gonna lose.
Yeah,
that's all I'm thinking about.
If Biden and Putin were in a debate together, there's just no question that we would lose and look weak as a country. It's not about who is a better leader, it's about the level of competency. You don't see Don Lemon or Joy Reid going on these shows to have debates. They're too much on the echo chamber with the leftist mainstream media, and all they do is trash talk conservatives. And I think Patrick Bet-David's motivation in hiring Cuomo is to have real debates with someone who is going to be respectful regardless of their opposing views. I don't think he would hire him if he didn't actually see Cuomo at least starting to wake up. Here's a clip of him explaining why he chose to hire Cuomo in response to Tim Pool's criticism on X.
And so Tim Pool, the announcement is made with Chris Cuomo. Huge F up. Chris Cuomo faked being in COVID lockdown. His brother is a murderer. No redemption arc. PBD goes. CNN is very disappointing, right? Now, this is after, if you can show the picture at the bottom, with us showing that Chris Cuomo joins Valuetainment. My response was, Tim, I trust capitalism. One of these days, the market will wake up and realize what our vision was all along. I'm extremely comfortable being misunderstood before the market validates our vision. I respect your impatience with our vision. In the meantime, keep kicking ass. Here's Tim Pool. My first conversation when I watched Chris, we've criticized Chris a lot on this podcast. My experience with him behind closed doors has been great. He's very good to the kids. He's very respectful to my wife. I watch how he is around the girls in our office. Never above and beyond. He's very civil. The reason why I'm kind of having this conversation and bringing folks from sides that we disagree with is because we need more debate. The moment more of us keep talking and we're all agreeing on everything, the conversation is over. The more you have people around you that you're not and you're debating and people are watching, there's a reason why the live that we did with Candace and Chris was a #1 live worldwide that day. Why? Because the world is saying, I don't want echo chambers. I'm sick of it. And there's echo chambers for Republicans. There's echo chambers for Democrats. How it's going to work out long-term, short-term, I have no clue. Chris may screw up. Chris may make a mistake and it doesn't work out. Chris may use us and go do something else. I don't think he's going to do that because we've had some incredible conversations together. If he values that, we'll be running together for a very long time to come. If he doesn't, I'm okay with that.
Now, will Chris Cuomo actually come around? I don't know for sure, but it will be a good learning experience for everyone involved. The only thing that I worry about is Patrick Bet-David losing his audience. So many conservatives are now saying, oh, Patrick Bet-David is a cut Huck. He just sold out. He's hiring a propagandist from the left. I'm not even going to tune into the show if he hires him. This is why we are stuck in these binaries. Both sides are unwilling to come to the middle and have healthy debates. In this clip, we actually see Cuomo is very aware of it.
Boy, do they hate it when we talk to each other. Who? The establishment. Now, the easy criticism to handle is that I'm enabling the distribution of lies and bad ideas by having Tucker Carlson on. Here's the problem with that idea. Carlson has a bigger platform than anyone who is telling me to not have him on. Okay? That man and his crazy cackle is bigger than most major outlets. So the idea that you can censor your way into some kind of selection of arguments that you like or don't like is over. And simply demonizing what you disagree with is not making it better. For all of these rules about who can be on and who can't and how you fact check and how you don't, and what the truth is and what it isn't, Carlson is not unique, except maybe for that cuckoo cackle. But as for his ideas, he has an audience because millions feel the same way. This is the same mistake that many in the media made with Trump. And when I was talking to Trump early on, I was getting the same criticism. Many would rather silence what they don't agree with. And I think that drives the division. And they talk about building bridges, but they don't want to let it happen.
There was nothing that Cuomo said here that I don't agree with. We should be talking to each other. We should be having debates.
What was your plus minus on Cuomo talking with Carlson? Conversation instead of combat.
Your conversation. Wait. When I say it, I just
you all right?
Was worthy, but I would never do it. When he took over for me in 2017, he inherited an 8 o'clock slot where 4,200,000 viewers watched the first quarter of 17. He couldn't hold it. Nobody could have. And if you want to say I'm bragging, fine. 4,200,000.
Because the research says he had the biggest audience in the history of cable television. Tucker Carlson had the biggest audiences in the history of Tucker. I have the proof. They can put it up on the screen if you want.
No, that is not true. And now you're spreading a falsehood. I have the Nielsen
I'm not
reads.
spreading falsehood. We just did the research.
I actually thought Cuomo sounded chill and more mature here than Bill O'Reilly. Like, you can just see O'Reilly, someone on the right, the person that Tucker Carlson replaced, clearly defending his ego, while Cuomo is ironically defending Tucker Carlson and giving him credit where credit is due. Interesting how the tables turn here. We're actually seeing a shift in the collective consciousness where liberals are moving more towards the center in this show under the Biden administration, while at the same time seeing where conservatives are flawed, that there are plenty of things that they don't get right either. I think it took Cuomo to be kicked out of his echo chamber, meaning fired from CNN, in order to listen to both sides. That was probably the best thing that ever happened to him, and now he is on the more centrist platform, News Nation. He has gotten a lot more of my respect, just like Michael Rappaport, who is a Trump hater, but is now willing to vote for Trump because Biden is doing so bad.
Voting for Donald Trump is on the table.
Check out my full video on Rappaport if you haven't already. I posted a link in the comments. I think Cuomo has made a lot of progress, and now that he's no longer with the mainstream, he has more free range to entertain new ideas and perspectives. I would actually like to see more people support Patrick Bet-David in hiring Cuomo rather than just giving up hope. Don't knock it till you try it. Let's see how he does. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, thanks for watching Inverted World.
Boy, do they hate it when we talk to each other. Who? The establishment.